let's look at the stack. Let's look at the stack of stuff that I brought in. I brought in some recent jury verdicts and recent settlements on some injury cases. At Gower Law, I started the practice on doing a lot of criminal defense work. I think we were probably around 85% criminal defense work and about 15% family law, some injury. Now it's more about 50-50. We're doing probably about 50% criminal defense work and 50% civil work, meaning some injury cases, and we're doing also some family law cases. So let's talk about some of these injury cases. And in my stack, I brought to you recently out of Wayne County, Michigan. This was an interesting case. There was a postal worker that was walking while delivering on their route, and they were struck by a salt truck, and the carrier was injured. Now, when you're injured on the job in Michigan, your first remedy when you're working for your employer is workers' compensation. So everybody has to do that. But a lot of people don't realize, in addition to workers' comp, you can bring a claim for injuries against the at-fault party. So in this case, a truck that was being driven, it was a salt truck, struck the carrier while they were delivering mail on their route. And the carrier suffered some substantial injuries. And actually, it was deemed that the carrier was permanently disabled from that. So I'm not sure if they were struck from behind or what, but you got to imagine somebody, I guess, human versus truck. The truck's going to win every time. This case went to trial, and prior to the jury reaching a verdict, both sides of the party, the plaintiff, which was the injured party, and the defendant, which was the defendant's insurance company, I believe, reached a settlement. And they settled the case for, I believe it was $6 million for that, because the individual was injured. The damages in Michigan for an injured party really goes down to whether or not it's a permanent damage or something that you're going to recover from. Now, if this person was going to recover and they were only out of work for a week, then the damages aren't anywhere near the $6 million. I was looking again at some of these and some of these injury cases that recently were reported, and there was a verdict. This case actually went to trial where there was an individual riding a motorcycle and they were struck by an automobile. And a lot of times, we see in the warmer months here in Michigan, usually beginning probably spring, summer, it's obviously going into summer, more and more bikers on the road. And of course, motorcycle and cars, the person driving the car owes a duty to these people on their motorcycles. In this case, there was a group of bikes riding together, and or motorcyclists, I should say, on their bikes riding together, and they began slowing down, and the person in the car was either distracted or wasn't paying attention, and she struck one of the motorcyclists, and the foot was not completely severed off, but it was severely injured. This case went through the process of litigation, where they brought a claim alleging injuries, and before it goes to a verdict or a jury, there's a lot of opportunity to settle these matters, settle these personal injury matters. And the defendant's insurance company offered to settle the case for, it looks like it was $125,000. And that just wasn't enough for this injured motorcyclist. And his attorney, the motorcyclist and the attorney counseled. And of course, they counteroffered, and they couldn't reach an agreement. So it went through a trial, and the jury rendered a verdict in the amount of $1.5 million. Now, again, if the foot was severed off, the damages would be much higher. A lot of people don't understand, when you get in an auto accident, if you had a sprained wrist, that's going to be worth a lot less than if you had a broken arm. So that's how they measure damages. And these insurance companies, they don't make money paying claims. So they're going to look at every single claim, and they're going to scrutinize them. And I guess if it was their family member, they'd say they're injured significant. But it's just a person on a piece of paper, and they have set, these claims adjusters have set amounts. For instance, a broken leg is worth this amount, a broken arm is worth this amount, a twisted ankle is worth nothing. In Michigan, on auto cases, you have to reach what's called a threshold in order to collect on against the at-fault party, because we're a no-fault state. In future episodes, we'll get into what exactly is Michigan no-fault, and is it good for us or not good for us. They say it's probably one of the best systems in the country. I think that's arguable. I think you can argue about that. So, all right. So I got another one here that came out today, where a semi-truck hit a van and caused a chain reaction collision. And this happened on an interstate, and it was an 18-wheeler. Semi-trucks can't come to complete stops, as you know, very fast. And it was a rear-end accident, and the case ended up going through litigation, but they did reach a settlement amount. And the case settled for $2 million. Not just the individual that the semi hit, but if you cause the accident, like the semi-truck driver did in this case, and you cause the chain reaction, every single person who's injured in that chain can have a claim against the at-fault party. Most of the time, what will happen is a law firm or lawyer will sue everybody involved and then let them kind of figure it out. In this case here, the first car was injured. The driver of the first car, I should say, was injured worse than everybody else. And they ended up settling the claim. They had lifelong injuries, and they settled the lawsuit against the truck driver of the semi-truck. And again, a lot of people are like, well, the truck driver, I mean, he's on a salary. Well, everybody who's driving a car, as you know, and everybody who's in business who owns semis or moving vans or whatever, they have insurance policies. And what happens in an injury case, if you're at fault, your insurance company steps into your shoes, and they have a duty to defend you against any claim. And so that's what happened here. The insurance company steps in the semi-truck driver's shoes, and then they start defending the case against him. So you're making the claim against him, but the insurance company is going to cover any liability. Now, back in the day, Michigan had a system where PLPD was only like $20,000. So if you had significant injury, the most you could get from an insurance company would be $20,000 for a significant injury. And what happened is a lot of times people would just take that small amount of a settlement for a significant injury. That to me seems very unjust, and they've changed that in Michigan now. So now the minimum coverage, I believe, is $250,000. If there's any insurance agents that are catching this video and I say something that's wrong on the insurance end, feel free to correct me. I have never have a problem being corrected. In fact, I welcome it, because I once had to reply on a social media post. I mentioned something, and the person responded back to me and said, "You're a lawyer, you should know this." And I told them I was sorry to spoil the illusion, but yes, I was, or yes, I am a lawyer, but no, I don't know everything. And I wish them a happy Thanksgiving and asked them to move on. And it actually went very nice between the two of us. But no, I don't care what area you're in. If I say something that's wrong in any of these videos, feel free to correct me in the comments. Feel free to tell me, and I will definitely correct it in subsequent episodes and mention, maybe I might even mention your name and say, thanks for correcting me, whoever it is.